With the Ottawa Senators falling just short in a magical playoff run, losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champion, the Carolina Hurricanes, in the conference final, it sets the stage for a very interesting offseason and for a lot of reasons in particular. Now, before we get to those reasons, first and foremost, I want to thank you guys, of course, for checking out this video, for supporting the series, for supporting this channel. I've talked about it, the upload schedule, not exactly what I want it to be, but I'm trying to balance some life stuff here, and it's causing some issues. But regardless, I thank you for your support. And I'm going to ask you to do the YouTuber thing that everyone has to ask you to do. Drop a like if you haven't already to try and help get this video out there to more people, help this channel grow, and of course subscribe if you have not already done so. I thank you all for that. I love you all for that. So looking ahead here, big free agent period coming up, big re-sign period coming up, big draft period coming up where Eugene will get to make his first selection in the draft for us, again, within our top 5 picks. But the first talking point that I want to get to here is not the motorcycle you might be able to hear in the background. You definitely heard it now. Love it. Pure silence. Start recording. Motorcycles. It's the best. That said, when it comes to the salary cap, now, of course, last year I actually confused myself a little bit. And I'm like, oh, what's the cap for this year? And I'm like, oh, it's this. And it wasn't what I thought it was. Basically, the cap for last year was $87 million. Now the cap is up to $90.5. Obviously, a $3.5 million increase. So with the cap floor last year being $68.7 million, easy for me to say, the presumed cap floor now is $72.2 million, which means we can spend roughly $77 million on this team heading into this season. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And again, max contracts 9 to 10% of the cap. Of course, last year, Thomas Chabot, you had his $8 million representing 9.19 million or 1.9% of the $87 million cap. A lot of numbers, I know, but point being, I'm not allowed to spend more than 10% of our cap on one player. So Taylor Hall, you know, if he's looking for over $9 million bucks, that's where it's going to get to be a little bit shaky. So I don't know if we're going to be able to afford him. There's a lot to get to in this episode. Every offseason is now going to be that much more jam-packed with things to do. We'll see what happens. And I mean, honestly, the re-sign phase is probably the first thing that we can look to do, or at least, you know, the early contract extensions. Now, Linus Ullmark doesn't want to come back, which again means he's gone. If somebody doesn't want to come back, I'm not allowed to re-sign them. Anders Nilsson's an interesting one where he was hit or miss this season. He went on an amazing run, but then lost his job in the playoffs to Adin Hill. When it comes to who could potentially be out there when it comes to free agents, you know, we could look to bank on somebody, but I don't think we want to spend that much money on goaltending. With how hit or miss it is in this game, do we want to bank on Tuukka Rask? Do we want to bank on Robin Lehner? Probably not. Carter Hart's not going to hit free agency, and if he does, it's an RFA, and that's a whole different issue. I think at best we might be able to bank on Igor Shesterkin. The Shesterkin, call him what you will, it's Shesterkin, but we change it because Americans don't read well. So I don't think we want to spend big money on a goaltender. So someone like Anders Nilsson's probably the right way to go, because we can always send him down if we do secure somebody else for this roster next year. Adin Hill is absolutely somebody that we're holding on to. So depending on what Anders wants, which is honestly a dirt cheap contract where I don't even think we have to do, I mean, we do have to do the 85% trick, of course, to try and get him to save, to save some money here. Yeah, re-sign phase rules, can only spend $5 million of cap, 85% trick only. Players have to be willing to take a pay cut if it's a one-way deal. So we will look at that $850K. The 85% trick is $725. If Anders accepts that, he will be back next season. Adin Hill's an RFA. He is looking for a decent little contract, which isn't surprising. I will go for the 1 year. And at 1.4, the 85% trick would be basically 1.2 million. So we wouldn't be saving that much, but Adin Hill had a spectacular season last year. of course. Marcus Högberg, we're going to drop. I mean, some people are like, oh, you underrated him. I don't really know about that. I know he did decently well at the NHL level when he actually played with the Sens, but his AHL numbers were concerning. We're going to drop him because Matt Sjogard's going to be signed, and he'll be next to Gustafsson next season. So, Högberg, unfortunately, I want to see who else is out there. We might bring him back for the sake of team chemistry. Honestly, actually, I think I will bring him back, and he'll be a healthy scratch behind Sjogard and Gustafsson. He'll be the backup goaltender in the AHL if he's willing to sign a deal. Now, $700K is the lowest we can go, so we'll see if Högberg accepts that. And for Gustafsson, again, no limit on me being able to adjust the years. If he's willing to sign that, that would be fantastic. Defensively, Mark Borowiecki wants to go. I'll try to bring him back in free agency if he doesn't sign elsewhere because, again, I know people are like, oh, Melnick wants to keep him. This is the second offseason in a row where he's like, yeah, no, I don't want to stay. Christian Jaros doesn't want to stay, but he's an RFA, so I should still be able to bring him back. Max Lajoie is the first real contract. We'll go 2 years. It is a one-way deal, but obviously I can't add to it. But if Lajoie is willing to sign that, I'm good with that. Ilya Lyubushkin wants to come back. He was pretty good in the regular season, but was awful in the playoffs. But for a depth defenseman, we could do worse. So I'm not against bringing him back. It would be a 1-year deal. And in terms of the money, $975. If he accepts that, it's good for me. Christian Wolanin doesn't want to come back, but he's an RFA. Josh Brown will be dropped. And then the AHL, Shen, Clayson. We can look to pretty much drop everybody down here. Alsing, Artem Zub. These guys are all basically going to be dropped. We'll save Taylor Hall for last, I think. Probably. Well, you know what? Screw it. Let's find out right now. Taylor Hall wants $9.7 million. So 9.7. And then the cap is now 90 with the 5. So that is 10.7. We are not able to get Taylor Hall for that price, but with the 85% trick, we're eligible. I'm not allowed to pay him 9.7, but I am allowed to do the 85% trick. Everyone has to use the 85% trick. So I'd love to bring back Taylor Hall. We can't jack up the years to 7, and we can't jack the years down. It's a 6-year deal. That is the only way we're getting this done. So Taylor Hall on 85% is $8.245 million, which comes out to 9.11. So Taylor Hall is eligible if he accepts the 85% trick. Thank God. $8.245 million, thank God, for salary cap inflation. So that's 8.25 technically. Let me just double check the numbers here. 8.25 comes out to 9.116%. If Taylor Hall's the one to sign that, Taylor Hall comes back. And I think he earned it. It's a lot of money to give to somebody, but I can't afford it. And we're going to have a cheaper bottom 6 with a lot of the rookies that we're going to use. So it's going to be expensive, but if Taylor Hall is willing to come back, I think he has to. Connor Brown, solid in the regular season, disappeared in the playoffs. I don't know if I can sign him right now. Jonathan Davidson, I'm willing to bring back. We'll just sign him to that. That's perfectly fine. For the left wingers, of course, Brady Tkachuk. This is where it could be scary. I'm going to drop that by a year. So let's see. We should, again, be able to sign him because we are allowed to adjust the asking price with the 85%. So Brady Tkachuk at this price would be $8,202, which is cheaper than Taylor Hall. So we will be able to bring Brady back, but again, that's $16 million to give up to just one player. Or really 2 players. It's the same exact contract for Tkachuk and Hall. That's a lot of our cap given up to star players, but it makes sense to go star players and go cheaper. Almost the Chicago method. Go cheaper in the bottom 6, in theory. So if Brady Tkachuk's willing to sign that, we'll absolutely bring him back. Ilya Mikheyev, I don't know, because he disappeared in the playoffs. Philip Chlapik, if he's willing to sign that, that's a steal. Vitaly Abramov, if he is willing to sign for 3 years, I will take that, and it would be at 8.5. Not too bad. Jansen Harkins, who we brought in last year, still a good option. for the AHL, especially at that price. Michael Carcone. And, I'll look to bring him back. It'll be good for team chemistry, I would say. The $850K would be $725 for him. Nemesnikov, he had a great season. He really did. 59 points for him. 13 points in 16 games in the playoffs. We have to look to bring him back. It's just whether or not he'll take the cheaper price. He wants 3 years, which is the sweet spot in terms of the asking price. $435 for Nemesnikov. $435 for a second-line center is a pretty good rate. I think I'm willing to do that. Artem Anisimov, it really depends on how much he wants. I can't use him as our third-line center. I just can't. Because we have Logan Brown, who I need to have as our third-line center for the sake of his development. Unless we have him on the wing. So I'm not sure about Anisimov yet. Logan Brown, we're going to go 3 years for you. $2.5 million. That's $2,125, so not much of a discount there for Logan. Jace Howerluck, we'll look to bring back as well. Go with a 1-year deal for you at $875. And again, there's no guarantees these guys are going to accept this, which is the problem. Drake Batherson, $975. I forgot what that was on an 85. That's $850. Not too bad. Kevin Stenlund will look to bring back as well. We'll go 1 year for you at that price. Okay, so we'll see who accepts out of the initial offers, and I might have to move people to draft to free up some cap space. We'll find out. Stenlund is back. Carcone's back. Good stuff to start at least. See what happens next. Gustafsson re-signs. Still waiting for the big dogs. Harkins is back. Anders Nilsson is back. Howerluck, Hogberg, Liabushkin, Brown, Schlappick, LaJoie, Abramoff rejected. Davidson signs. Batherson rejects. Aiden Hill is back. Next, Nemesnikov signs. Tkachuk signs. Taylor Hall is back in Ottawa. Tkachuk and Hall on the top line for the next 4 seasons. Well done. Our projected spent is still $69 million. It's only $59 million if I look into that year. So it's $69 million right now. So I have roughly $3 million to spend, but of course $20 million in cap space. So this is where it gets interesting. So in terms of goaltenders, again, Allmark is out. Borowiecki, Yaros, Wolanin, Brown, these guys are all going to be dropped. For the wingers, I don't think I can sign Connor Brown now. I don't think I can. If I have $72 million in space, Connor Brown and Ilya Mikheyev, those are the two. I love it. Who's like, I don't have interest in two-ways. Fine, we'll go 2 years for you at $700, and we'll see if you'll sign that. So I think Anisimov, Mikheyev, and Brown are the sacrifices here to get these deals done. Unless we move on from, Nilsson's contract drops. Unless I can find a way to move Nikita Zaitsev. And then, see, this is why those Tkachuk and Hall deals were risky. Nemesnikov's as well. The good thing is Bobby Ryan's deal is going to be up before we have to re-sign Lafreniere. That's one of the big ones. It really is that Bobby Ryan contract that's going to weigh us down. He's still the highest paid player on the team. Interesting. I think Anisimov, Brown, and Mikheyev are the sacrifices here. Because I don't exactly have someone I can easily get rid of. I don't know if we can shop Bobby Ryan. I don't know if we can shop Zaitsev. So with $3 million to spend, again, Connor Brown wants 5.5. There's just no way. There's just no way. That's $4.6 million, and he choked in the playoffs. He choked in the playoffs, as talked about. 3 points, just 1 goal in 15 games. And same thing for Ilya Mikheyev. 36 goals in the regular season, 1 goal in 14 playoff games. And then Anisimov, I just can't prioritize him over anybody else. He's looking for a cheap amount, but if you look at the forwards that we could have heading into next year, It's Kachuk, Hall, White, Nemesnikov with Lafreniere and Bobby Ryan. Third line, Logan Brown, and then a combination of guys like Hauerluck, Balser, Schlappick, Formanton. We really don't need and can't afford to spend money on Connor Brown and Ilya Mikheyev. So I think we're done. In terms of the big signings already, we're pretty much done. The decision to bring back Taylor Hall and to reward him for that playoff run, it's costly, but I think it's worth it. So Abramov is back, Batherson is back, and we are good to skip ahead to the draft, where you get a look at the lottery results. Would we have moved up? I don't know. Tough call. Very, very tough call to see if we would have moved up. Actually, I just remembered it's not $72 million that we have to spend. It's $77. So we'll see what happens in the re-sign phase. You can tell I'm trying to play it a little bit safe. We have $77.2 million to spend, not $72. So I still have some money to work with. But I'm already uncertain when it comes to Brown and Mikheyev. Anisimov, even then I don't think it's worth really bringing back Anisimov, right? We can fill out the bottom six with somebody cheaper, some of our younger guys. As we get a look at the retirements for this season, Marlowe, David Backes, Franz Nielsen goes at 37. And defensively, Bomeister, Hainsey, Englund, Jonathan Eriksson. For the goaltenders, Ryan Miller and Corey Schneider. It's not too bad there. We're going to have new staff members here. Fair enough. David Backes becomes a coach. Eriksson, Schneider, Marlowe, and Letestu all become scouts. Very, very good. So, as we look ahead here, all right? As we look ahead, we're not going to worry about the pre-draft interviews. The question heading into the draft, what pick is Eugene Melnyk going to have of ours? Where we just sim the pick and we see what happens. Toronto wants to trade the number 2 pick in the draft. I don't think we're going to have the ability to move up. But looking here at our top 5 picks in the draft, we have 2 seconds, a third, and a fourth. So it's going to be one of these picks. We're just not sure which. To be honest, I just need to see if we can make a move. I could cheese the AI by trading Toronto Ashton Shaw. Again, I don't necessarily want to cheese the AI in this series, but it could work. Of course, we have Lassie Thompson, Bernard Docker, Poirier in the system here. I mean, as great as it would be to move up, we don't really have the means to do so. I mean, Bobby Ryan has that trade value, but obviously Toronto's not going to be able to afford him. I don't really see the move that we could make. I mean, you talk about using our first formative. Yeah, we don't have the value to move up. Even if we tried to cheese the AI, it would be incredibly tough. Incredibly tough. So in terms of moving anybody off of this team, that's the first thing to look at. Now, we know we're not bringing back Linus Ullmark, so it makes sense to shop his rights and get whatever we can. And the answer apparently is going to be a 6th and a 7th, because I have no real desire to pick up Carter Rowney. We could get Tyler Bozak's rights, but so let's get, 170 for that 6th rounder. Looks to be the best. So we'll take that deal from the Florida Panthers and send them Linus Ullmark's rights. Aside from that, Gustafson, Hill, Holkberg, Mandalise, Decord. I didn't even see Decord as a backup there. I guess his contract wasn't up, so that makes sense. So our goal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hopefully Mandalise stays as exempt. Otherwise, I'm going to have trouble signing a goalie, and probably should have shopped Hogberg. We'll see what happens there. Defensively, again, Zaitsev's the guy to try and move, but it feels kind of cheap depending on what the return is. 2 third-round picks for Zaitsev. Darcy Kemper. See, that's what I mean. Like, Zaitsev should not have this value. I shouldn't be able to get a 2nd-round pick for Nikita Zaitsev. There's no way. Trading in this game, like Olivier Rodrigue, for God's sake. I'm not trading Zaitsev. I'm not doing it. I don't want to cheese the AI here. We already kind of did it for Lafreniere. I'm going to suffer with Nikita Zaitsev on this team. Everybody else can stay. Although, I won't trade Borowiecki because Eugene would be pissed. But I could shop his rights. I won't, though. For wingers, same thing. No one's taking that Bobby Ryan contract. We're stuck with him for the next season. But we know we're not bringing back Connor Brown. So it makes sense, I'd say, to shop his rights. I have no interest in paying him $4 million after what he did in the playoffs, which is nothing. The Islanders are going to make this pick. Nick Delorier is available as a potential fourth liner for us. Otherwise, we're looking at a fourth round pick. That's really where we're going to cap out, is around a fourth round pick here, which isn't too bad. Connor Carrick, Jordan Wheel, Ustamenko. All right, so we're going to get a fourth round pick for Connor Brown. Let's wait for the Islanders to make this selection as they take a dude named Thorburn. First overall, Malachi Thorburn. The power forward with a shot of gold goes number 1 overall. Let's go back and trade Connor Brown. Again, just no interest in bringing him back for the price that it would cost. So, Connor, I'm sorry. You looked like you were going to get a good contract, and then you blew it. We're looking at pick 114. Now, 4th and a 5th from Boston. 120, what was the Bruins? 116, 4th and a 5th is the going rate. Not that I want to send him to a division rival, but, you know, it could weaken them if they choose to sign him. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to send Connor Brown's rights to the Bruins for a 4th and 5th overall, or 4th and 5th round pick. Overall pick would be insane. And then from here, I also want to shop Ilya Mikheyev's rights. I know I'm not bringing him back after his playoff performance. 4th and a 7th. 4th and a 7th is the going rate, apparently. That's a little bit harsh, but I'll take it, as we will send him out to the Arizona Coyotes. So long to Mr. Mikheyev. No desire to bring you back. I do have some desire to bring back Artem Anisimov, but as mentioned, it just doesn't make sense. So let's see if we can shop his rights. He scored a clutch overtime playoff goal for us. He really could be, provide veteran leadership on this team, but that was his only point of the playoffs. So amazing overtime winner, I believe, against Boston, or not, he has to go. 2 7ths from Calgary is the price I am willing to pay. We'll send Anissimov's rights out to the Calgary Flames. And with that, it is now time to figure out which of our top 5 picks Eugene will be selecting for me in this draft, as horrifying as that is. So it will either be the 29th overall pick, the 35th, the 60th, the 91st, or hopefully the 116th that we just acquired from the Bruins. So here we go. Let's spin the wheel. Let's see what happens. Eugene Melnyk will be making the 91st overall pick for us. That is our lone 3rd round selection. Thank God. I catch a little bit of a break here with what pick Eugene will be making for us. So we get these first 2 picks to do whatever I need to. That Columbus pick is almost a first rounder in and of itself. And we'll slowly move along here because I might be able to trade up. So we'll see here. Toronto gets Aatu Ratu at an 83 overall. A dude named Hommel goes to the Blue Jackets. Chicago gets Mowers. More computer-generated players. You get Chaz Lucius going to Detroit. He's actually real. As is Brant Clark falling to 6th. Jesus Christ, LA. New Jersey gets Dylan Genther. And Fabian Lysell goes there. With this draft, there's a lot of medium top 6 talents. I don't think it's worth trading up at all. But we'll still take a look here. Computer-generated players are going to be the ones to target, although if you've watched a different series, you know how well Sasha Pastujov is doing. Ludwig Backman is computer-generated. NHL ready with a Mark Stone comparison. So that might be the first player to look to trade up for. Luke Hughes is there. Isaac Rosen's real. Mason McTavish, Owen Power. Again, I know a lot of people are like, hey, use real-life players, but it is the computer-generated players that make it really worthwhile, like Dante Kadri. It's going to be nuts. Wojciech Bunka. Also looking half decent with a Solani comparison. There's Ludwig Naslund. See, we're going to... Ooh, Wallstead. I don't think I'm trading up. I think I get one of these dudes at the end of the first round and Wallstead at the beginning of the second. That's the play. That is the play, 100%. Let's go ahead and sim to our 29th overall selection. So Beniers is off the board. Brennan Othman, Lehero, Edvinson, Bolduc, Lambos, Cheka, Borgal, McTavish, Svozil, Owen Power, Isaac Rosen, Pinelli, Wah. Again, with this draft, you can ask any scout. And trust me, I did. I asked somebody who actually does scouting. And yeah, this draft is a complete toss-up. Outside of Clark and Ratu probably going 1 and 2, and even then Brant Clark going second overall isn't a guarantee. So that's really how this draft is set up, is, you know, those first 2 picks, you got 2 medium elites, and the rest are high-rated medium top 6s, medium top 4s, just to see what the hell happens. Now the question is, who do we go with here? Because our next pick was 35th. We can hope Wallstead's still on the board. There are forwards and 3 forwards and a defenseman. We probably don't need a defenseman. You've seen who we have in the system already. Emilio Emerton, solid alliteration, but I don't think we need him. So that leaves us with Ludwig Naslund, Wojciech Bunka, or Dante Kadri, who's 6'5" at 17 years old. NHL ready. That goes for all 3 of them. I mean, Kadri's probably going to be the best player. The other 2 are slightly smaller, which gives me kind of some confidence in terms of how they'll actually play. Wojciech Bunka, who is on Kladno, Jaromir Jagr's team, or Ludwig Naslund. It's got to be one of those 3. It has to be. Ooh, I don't know who to go for. Our scout has Bunka as the top one of the trio. Kadri, you know, is enticing because he's the youngest player of the bunch, so more time to develop. Driven to win, gets emotional at times, very loyal but can lack the drive to win. I like that Naslund's loyal. That might help us when it comes to re-signing players in the future. And I mean, he has the best offensive skills of the bunch. It's just that he doesn't play a physical game. He also has the best skating of the bunch. The best skating, best on the puck. I think Ludwig Naslund's going to be the pick here, because that whole loyalty thing is pretty nice. And guys who are driven to win might not be willing to take a pay cut and might want to go elsewhere. We're going to select Ludwig Naslund, the Swede, from Djurgården with the pick. He is a 78 overall, medium top 6 forward. Edmonton selects Logan Stankoven, who is a little bit worse. And Carolina went for Jeremy Wilmer. So our pick is there. We needed to hold on. I'm going to try to trade up with Chicago to secure Wallstead and get another really solid goalie into the system, because he is very solid indeed. I know I can't use that 3rd round pick, but I now have the freedom to move up here, and I need to take advantage of it, because we do have extra 4th round picks. And there we go. 1 4th round pick is enough. We are moving up to the 32nd overall selection. We are going to add Jesper Wallstead, who is very good out of the gates, despite the Jimmy Howard comparison. Wallstead's the pick, 70 overall, medium elite, a step below Askarov, but still a solid goaltending option. Very happy with that. As much as I'd like to move up again, I don't really think we're going to have the value to do so, because I don't plan on giving up any of our current prospects. And with some of the picks, the value's not quite there. So let's sim ahead to pick number 60 here later on in the 2nd round. Big win there for Dallas, getting a medium elite goaltender. And if you look here, we would have had to trade up pretty soon. Jakul is decent there for Calgary. And hopefully there's still somebody else left on the board for us here, as we'll see what these other guys were. Bunka was a 79, Emerton a 76, Kadri also a 79. But still, I like who we selected for the whole loyalty aspect. As far as who we're going for next, Dakota Barlow could be decent. Apparently can't skate worth a damn. There's also Tiny Pateni. Tiny Pateni. What a name. Samu Jaskalainen. We had a Samu Jaskalainen, didn't we? He was a goaltender. I don't remember what series that was. You guys would remember better than I would. Michael Clough. Chase Trevelyan has a hell of a shot. There's not really anybody that I'm completely sold on here, if I'm being honest. Lars Kruger and Andre Bardasak's not bad. Couple of players from Kladno. What the hell is going on up there? Or over there, I should say. Goaltender Nicholas Jorgensen. I don't like that he's only 6 foot. Kalle Ledeen. Got Goldman, who I know nothing about. There's quite a few players that we apparently have very, very little information on. Again, that limited scout. Hello. Good God, yes. We don't need another goalie. I am intrigued by Dominic DePita. 6'3", 1-year ETA. Talk about goaltenders and paying them a little bit of money. Having a constant flow of goalies that we can then flip, and recoup the cost for isn't a bad idea. So I don't have any guarantees on any of these other dudes. I have a feeling DePita might only be fringe. When is our next pick after this? Is it the third round pick that Eugene will be making? I think it is it not? It is. This is my last pick before Eugene gets to make the 91st. I'm going to go with my gut here. When in doubt, it's been my mantra for years. When in doubt, take the goalie. I'm hoping for at least fringe. Dominic DePita is the selection. Had to make a little bit of a jump cut there. 72 overall, medium fringe starter for Dominic DePita. I don't hate it. Like I mentioned, that constant flow of goaltenders, I think it's going to be incredibly helpful. So now we go to Eugene's pick. Let's see who I would select versus who Eugene is. Okay, well. He's horrible, but he'll have trade value. Ty Nielsen is who I would pick. Right? Ty Nielsen is who I would pick. Brian Thompson. This is a goalie-heavy draft. There's also Braden Peters. Let's see who Eugene selects here. With this pick, Melnick goes for Kapanen, low top 6 defenseman. And again, I'm not allowed to cut him. They must be signed. So Mika Kapanen, welcome aboard. Thanks a lot, Eugene. We will sim to the 4th round, 23rd pick, 116th overall. And we will see if somehow, some way, Pietrangelo might not be that bad if he's a medium 9, but he is 19. We'll see here. Rudy Flynn, 19 years old, but has good puck skills for a defenseman. Is there anybody here who is somehow half decent in terms of overall? Tallberger is a medium bottom 6. Lawrence, Saprika, Alistroff, I know isn't that good. All right, we've hit a rough patch here in this particular draft, and our scout has seemingly had trouble with the junior, the Canadian Junior League, because we don't have a ton of accurate information on everybody. This is rough. This might be the time to just trade out, but I think I'll make the pick because how much value are we really going to get? I am going to go for Ashton Pietrangelo as a potential 4th liner of the future. Might as well see what happens. Low top 9 was not what I wanted to see. Of course, our next pick is right here as well, so we'll be able to take that defenseman in Rudy Flynn. Hope for the best here as well. Medium 7th. Yeah, we're probably cashing out of this particular draft. Another pick here in the 5th round. Let's sort by potential. Just see what we got. Let's see if any of these guys have a decent ETA. I mean, again, the overalls aren't going to be great. Plekhanov is a potential 4-year ETA. That's the issue. And then Varga is a 3-year ETA, but I know his potential is not that good. Okay, I think we're going to cash out on this particular draft. I'm not exactly feeling it right now, Mr. Krabs. So let's go ahead, cash out. All in all, solid draft for us, in my opinion, at least to start things off. We knew we weren't going to be getting a Lafreniere in this draft, but I like the addition of the goaltenders to really help us down the road in terms of saving money on goaltending. We'll see if Anaheim's going to take a 3rd. The answer is probably no. We will look for a 4th and a 5th next year for this haul of picks. The answer is still no. What about just a 4th? Thank you very much, Anaheim. And now we have, I'm just going to make that 7th round pick, and we'll just go complete shot in the dark. And it is the 215th overall selection in this draft. Valery Volkoff might not be the worst option, for being honest. don't like any of those players here. You know what? Let's look at one of these two. I said Volkoff might be the best option. And, yeah, let's go for Valery Volkoff. Why not? He's worth more than the 7th. 53 overall grinder at a medium bottom 6. So that does it for our draft this year. Capping the Eugene pick. But Naslund, Wallstead, DePita, I'm pretty happy with as a top 3. It's just a shame there wasn't a bit more available in the draft. Now we have this one day in between the start of the re-sign phase. And in terms of expiring deals, no changes to who wants to sign with Borowiecki, Jaros, Wolanin. We are at apparently $60 million spent. Again, 77.2 is the projected limit for this season. So I still like the idea of letting go of who we let go of, and that way we have some money to spend in free agency, about $13 million to be exact. So goaltending now, it's Hill, Nilsson, Decord with Hogberg, Gustafsson, and Mandalise. I should be able to sign Sjogard. I hope to God I have space. If not, I'm going to buy somebody out. Which people have been like, I should be allowed to buy somebody out? We'll see. It'll be a minor league deal anyway. It'll just be Hogberg for the year, so who cares? But yeah, I do like what we have here. I mean, Gustafsson, Sjogard, Wallstead, Shaw. I mean, again, a steady flow of cheap goaltending. Defensively, Mark Borowiecki doesn't want to stay, so he is going to go. Jaros doesn't want to stay, but we're going to qualify him. Same thing with one Christian Wolanin. And then Brown, Shen, Clayson, they're all going to be out. Holzer's going to go. Alsing's going to go. Artyom Zub is going to go. Gwinnett, I might as well sign. Why not? We'll give him a chance as an AHLer. And then so I make sure I don't accidentally drop him, let's sign Kapanen to his ELC. And then, again here, actually I sent out those offers a little bit earlier than I should have. Hopefully I didn't just accidentally burn a year. Oh, that's right, we're not. No, we're good. I told you I'm way too tired. We are in the re-sign phase here. I guess I did sim forward. Good. Jeez, I'm losing my mind. I don't know if we're going to sign Naslund out of the gates. Lodine's going to be dropped. He's a 64 at 22 years old. That's not going to happen. For the wingers, we're looking okay for the moment. Yeah, we're looking okay. All right, let's advance a day. See what happens here. Kapanen signs. Gwinnett, Sjogard, and we are good to go. Picture perfect here. We have our 2 RFAs. That's the only way I can hold on to them. So we're good. Let's go to the start of free agency. Now, we do have some staff concerns. But the big thing here is what money are we going to have to play with here in free agency? Again, I can't offer a player more than their asking price in free agency since the 85% trick doesn't work. The first thing I want to do, though, is take a look at the coaching staff because, again, we didn't have an amazing coaching staff last year. Again, I'm not allowed to offer coaches more than what they're looking for, which is a pretty big issue. So I think what we're going to do is probably look to rework the AHL coaching staff. I am not firing that head coach. Thank you very much. We're going to look to rework the AHL coaching staff. I need a generalist for an assistant coach, and then the goalie coaches should be fine. So let's see here. NHL assistant. Oh, boy. So we're looking at Vasilev's, Tripp, Riddle. It's not looking too good. A 61 scheme fit there for Tripp with B-. Teaching, which is going to be very important. B- for Mebus. So Mebus, or I think it was Riddle there. Kravchenko doesn't have very good teaching. Kind of hoping to see a former NHLer. Mikus with a strong B. Team fit's a little bit weaker, though. How many of the generalists do we have here? Renaud, A- teaching with a 56 scheme fit. I think Renaud might be the guy. A B for Bramanis. And then Thomas Eriksson. Let's go for Cesar Renaud as our assistant coach. Not allowed to offer him any more money than what he has. And then, just to double check, let's make sure there isn't like a high-rated goalie coach out there. Which there is not. At least not any higher. I mean, there's this dude, but his teaching's a little bit weaker. But honestly, he's a beast. I need to sign that guy. But he wants an associate role. But goalie coaches I'm allowed to sign for whatever. Let's make a change here. We are going to fire our NHL goalie coach. Sorry, Maddie. And we're going to look to bring this dude in as our new goaler coach. Right here, Mr. Daniel Perreault. Please accept. And then for the AHL, we need to completely redo the staffing department. Highest rated coach is a C. Ugh, not great. Any former NHLers that decided to go straight to the AHL? The answer appears to be no. That's it, too, for the coaches. Jesus. Okay, well, they're all C's. Who has the best teaching? It's going to be one of these top three. Who has the best team fit? 34, 39, 44. Pierre Como will hopefully be our new AHL head coach. He is a generalist. The associate coach... Oh boy, so it's going to be a C- here. Alright, generalist, goalie, it's got to be this dude right here, or dudette, I suppose. It is Vaclav Ziska. Will hopefully be our new associate coach, and our new assistant coach. It's going to be a D rating. And if I'm not mistaken, what was it here? Hold on. I just somehow managed to completely forget. Where the hell is Zishka? There was a generalist. Where the hell is Zishka? A forward coach, a defensive coach is what we need. Who is the defensive coach with the best teaching? This is where they stash all the goalie coaches. We're looking for a defensive coach, and it is going to be somebody horrible. It almost doesn't even matter at this point. Jesus, is there even a defensive specialist at this point? There might not be. In which case, I'd probably have to sign another generalist. Where the hell's the defensive coach? Veterans? There wasn't a single defensive coach, unless I'm blind as shit, which is possible. So I guess we'll look for another generalist. Whoever has the highest teaching on a generalist. B-. Let's go for good old Melvin Jacqueezy. What a name. So that should do it for coaches at least. And then for scouts, pretty much the game plan is to fire the C's unless there's no better option. Okay, there are better options. Now again, the one thing I am allowing myself to do, you know what? No, I'm gonna stay simplistic with it. We're gonna fire our entire coaching staff. As it is, we lost a specific scout last year. I'm gonna do the same thing. Initially I'm like, okay, here, let me hire the best scouts, but then move them. Move their area of expertise. I'm not gonna do that this time. I'm not gonna do it. So we're gonna hire somebody specifically based off of their area of expertise. We get one scout per region, as talked about. Let's go through this as well. So our WHL, actually no, an NHL, one NHL scout doesn't make too much sense. It really doesn't. We don't really need pro scouts. I mean, we do, but we don't. So our WHL scout will hopefully be Daniel Dagne. The Dagenets. Our OHL scout will hopefully be Mitch Howden. Hopefully we can get... is there a former NHLer here out of the C's? There's not, so let's go for Brule. Alex Brule. USA scout. Okay, you know what here? USA scout, we're allowed to hire 3. So we're going to go for Aurora Iserman. And then from here again, any recently retired players? No. So let's go for Theodore. And we'll go for not Jaffrey, we'll go for Cesar Roy as the other option. In Europe, we need 4 coaches. So Seabrook. We're going to have Selma Klingberg. So that's Germany, Switzerland, Czech, and Austria. For Scandinavia, we have the SHL, we have Liga, and although they never add anybody from there, we'll go with the Allsvenskan. And then for Russia, we'll go ahead and add Dmitry Tikhonov. Perfect. So that's 14. Let's see. I don't have enough to add for the 4 regions of the NHL or the AHL, so we should be okay. I'm going to try to add 4 NHL ones. That way I can get a proper line fit scout option there. We won't do it for the AHL, but those will be the options. And we're going to sign, hopefully, Curry, who's the best remaining scout for an ROW scout, just in case. Curry or Triff. Let's go for Eugene Triff. Hopefully, nobody rejects, and that goes through. So that will hopefully be the scouting department decided, as long as nobody rejects, and the coaching staff as well. So the big question now is free agency and what we're dealing with. Right now, the cap is 90.5. Again, we're allowed to spend up to 77, if I'm not mistaken, on the math. So let's see who's available. Goaltending. It definitely wasn't worth trying to bank on Robin Lehner at $9 million. Absolutely was not. Mrazek's asking for 7. The 1 to 2 players you could argue for, maybe more. You could say go for a veteran in Pekka Rinne, but the overall is at a huge risk of dropping. There's Igor Shesterkin, who we have used in series before, but do we even want to pay a goaltender $5 million? Probably not. It depends on who else is out there. Yes, we have, like I said, roughly $13 million to spend, but Shesterkin's, he's not it. Again, we got to get up to 72 at least, so $8 million has to be spent. Maybe Shesterkin's the guy if there's nobody else to bring in. Of course, Craig Anderson's also there, Henrik Lundqvist, Mike Smith. Demko's there, but as an RFA. No interest in Nedeljkovic, so there aren't really any prospects that I'd necessarily want to bring in outside of Mikhail Berdin. But to bring in Berdin, I'd have to get rid of Högberg. Defensively, let's see what we have here. I mean, Tyson Barrie's there, but he is too expensive. We wouldn't be allowed to bring him in at that price, and it would be a pretty big risk, honestly, for me to bring him in for that price as 9,725. Let's take a look here. 9,725, 1, 2, 3. That comes out to, we could technically, I think, 10.7. Question. Don't tell me that I just screwed up the Taylor Hall contract. Hold on a second. I didn't, right? I'm thinking of what he was looking for versus what he signed for. It's 825. 825. 3. Yeah, Taylor Hall's fine. I can't sign Tyson Barrie. He's too expensive. And really, if we look at the kind of general rule of thumb, as mentioned, anything over $9 million we can't do. It's pretty much what we're looking at. $9 million right now. I think even 9.1 is too much. 9.1 is too much. So anything over $9 million we're automatically ruled out on. And even now, I mean, we have $13 million to spend. We could afford a $9 million contract. But, yeah, no, we're out on Tyson Barrie. He's the one untouchable in this free agent class. So let's go take one more look at our defense here. I want to set the stage here and give you guys options just in terms of like, oh, what do we do for our goaltending? Do we go for Shesterkin? Do we go for somebody else? Of course, the controversy wheels will reappear next episode. But our defense right now is Chabot, Brandstrom, Zaitsev, Graves, and then odds are Lajoie, Yaros, or Lannon steps up. So we could use another defenseman. At least one more defenseman, maybe 2. I mean, obviously, Brandstrom being at an 82, I'm hoping he'll be up to an 84, 85 heading into next season. But looking here at this defense core, you know, I mean, Jeff Petrie on a 4-year deal at $5.575 million. I'm not allowed to offer him more than that. I could try to cheap out, but he has offers. Do we want to spend $5 million on Jeff Petrie for 3 years? I don't know if we do. I like Jeff Petrie, but that's a bit much. Same for TJ Brody. I don't think we want to spend that much in a series like this. That's a bit too much money to commit to somebody. You know, Niskanen, Tanev, Brodin, Borowiecki's there, but again, he didn't want to re-sign. I'll let you guys kind of give your input on that. It might just be worth going cheap on defense and going young on defense, unless we want to send Zdeno Chara an offer, which would be the exact opposite, but we bring Chara back to Ottawa. That could be done. Eric Goodbranson as well, who is a channel legend. So, I mean, we could go with the likes of Chara and Goodbranson if we wanted to stay relatively cheap. And then you got guys like Gunnarsson, Roman Polak, who are looking for nothing contracts. Of course, we started this the series right before Roman signed overseas. So we do have options, I would say, in terms of potential prospects. We don't have anybody there, unfortunately. I'm not interested in the RFA market. So defense, it's we either go cheap, we overspend on someone like Petrie or Brody, or wait for their price to drop, or we just go for, say, Zdeno Chara or somebody like that I mentioned. And then forward-wise, I mean, I like Eric Stahl, but there's no way I'm giving him that much money. We drop it down to a year and try to get him for cheaper. Nikita Gusev is there, Thomas Tatar is there, but you see how expensive these guys are. Ryan Getzlaf is out there. The problem is our top six is kind of settled. You know? I really do like our top six right now. So it might be worth, like I said, Tkachuk, White, and Hall. Then you have Lafreniere, Nemesnikov, Ryan. So we'd be looking at how do we boost up this money to get a third liner. We have to spend, like I said, about $8 million. There are names here that we could bring in. We could try to bring back Anthony Duclair. Again, go for some veterans. We could bring Nick Foligno back. That could happen. Ryan Dzingel. So we definitely have options. I'm intrigued to know what your opinion is on who we should potentially bring in. And then in terms of anybody with potential, Teddy Bluger, but he's 26. Brandon Duhaime could be worth it. Could be worth it. Those attributes are weird, though. I don't think he's going to be that good of a player. So there really aren't that many good potential options here either. So it's just filling out this roster as best we can. And even the high bottom six options, there isn't anybody young enough. There's some medium bottom six options, but I don't know how concerned we want to be. Could sign somebody like Tyler Angle. Nicholas Camano might actually be worth... Actually, yeah, Nick Camano is definitely worth signing. I'm going to send him an offer at 22. I think that's Marian Studnik as well. He's also worth kind of picking up here. I'll see if there's anybody else. I don't mind Tyler Angle, because we do need AHL signings. I don't want to sign too many guys here, though, out of the gates. Puistonen also available. I'll send him a deal, and then I think I'll cut it out until I can see what's going on elsewhere in terms of who's signed and who hasn't. But we do have some pretty decent options there to help fill out the AHL. But in terms of the big signings, I'll leave it up to you. That will pretty much do it for this one. Interesting draft. Big news of the episode. Taylor Hall is back. Brady Tkachuk is back. We still have some holes to fill on this team. But, you know, despite the fact that we only went through the drafts, I mean, kind of a packed episode here. It's been a long one at this point, but I hope you guys did enjoy. Next episode, we finalize this team heading into the regular season, and we find out what goes on the controversy wheel, in which case there will now be 2 controversy wheel spins per season at your request. I will see you all in the next one. Until then, again, I hope you enjoyed. You know the deal. Support the video. Support the channel. It is tremendously appreciated. And, of course, check out everything in the description if you have not already done so. Of course, the socials like Twitter and Instagram to check out my ever-growing jersey collection. You can support me as well, if you care to, through sites like Teespring, subbing on Twitch if you care to do that. And, of course, there's the Patreon as well. And, again, anything beyond just checking out this channel, going that extra mile in terms of supporting me and what I do here. I can't thank you guys enough. I love you all. I will see you in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Take it easy. Stay safe. Wear a mask. And season, it's next season for the Senators. It's going to be interesting.